Every 15 minutes, 50 Americans are diagnosed with cancer. These are alarming statistics, and the stories are remarkable. Some are stories of triumph, and some are not. Some are heartbreaking. But these WaveMakers are making waves against cancer and giving more chances for hope. Swim Across America has granted more than $100 million since 1987 for cancer research and patient programs.
Think of all the lives you've saved by making waves.
Hope has no finish line.
I'm Vicki Bunke. I'm a school psychologist, and I am Grace's mom.
Hi, everyone. I want to share my story with you. I want to warn you that unfortunately, my story doesn't end up wrapped up with a pretty bow. When I was 11, I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, bone cancer that had already spread. As a result, I completed 18 rounds of chemotherapy, underwent a unique partial leg amputation called rotationplasty, and had 2 lung surgeries. The goal of my treatment switched from being curative to being focused on my quality of life. Correction, the quality of my end of life. I am going to die because of osteosarcoma. I am going to die of a disease that treatment has not changed in 3 decades. There are brilliant doctors with great ideas, but they need funding to do their work. I can make a difference by sharing my story and raising money desperately needed for research.
Usually, it's parents that leave the legacies for their kids. But with this family, it was Grace who left the legacy for her family and for Vicki. And Vicki has told me that she has this ingrained belief, it's don't waste Grace's life, don't waste Grace's cancer.
Grace gave us a great gift. You know, she gave us the gift of purpose, you know, in her absence. In our grief, we have to actually still be active in trying to do for others and help others, raising money for a cure for cancer. Just having a red umbrella became a symbol of love and support, and also in the belief that we should bring our umbrella. Let's not just ask for, you know, a miracle to happen. Let's just expect that it will. Grace was looking out the window and she looked at me and said, you know, I'm gonna swim 5K next year. And of course, she said things like that all the time. And you just realize, no, you're not. You know, you're not gonna be here next year. But you say, I think I said, you know, that's 3 miles, right? Yeah, I know.
I think for the last 30 years, one of the things that we've always said as an organization is that we're going to keep swimming until there's a cure for cancer. We've made significant strides, but there are still people like Grace, their cancer got them before the cure was found. You know, you think of Grace's bravery, but you also think of the bravery of this mom who sort of was letting her child live out her dreams, right? And despite probably wanting to hold on to her for as long as she possibly could, she still was letting Grace run the show, right? And she lived and died on her own terms, which is the way, as a parent, that you hope that you would always do for your kids.
So when Grace wasn't able to swim in the hospital, she'd asked if I would swim for her. But obviously, when your daughter asks as one of their last wishes for you to swim in their place at Swim Across America, you're gonna find a way to do it. I don't like putting my head in the water, and I had never swum a lap in my life.
Vicki made the commitment that she was going to swim, and I said I'm in. I would say how Vicki and I's friendship grew is that Grace's coach, Coach Pat, offered to train both of our pathetic swimming abilities.
I showed up with a scuba mask because I didn't have any idea how to breathe without like my entire mask covered. And we started to give these excuses to Coach Pat, like why I needed to swim with a swim mask. And he said, I don't want to hear anything. Because all I need for the two of you to do, I just need you to get in the water and get to that end of the pool and back.
the integrity of the organization, the memory of Grace, and my friendship with Vicki and the Bunky family is what has kept me in the pool and in the lake.
Swimming looks easy, right? And I'm a runner, so I felt like I was physically, I can run, I've run a marathon, but swimming is an entirely different sport. I always knew that Grace was a very strong person, right? There was no question. But when I got in the water, I was like, how in the world will you realize how hard it is? I had no idea how she was able to do what she did, especially when she was so ill. There was no way I was not going to swim that mile for her. When she realized she wasn't going to be around and had made the goal to be not just the #1 fundraiser for the Atlanta event, but she wanted to be the #1 national fundraiser for Swim Across America, it was at that point that she asked me if I would promise to continue and swim for her, to use this wonderful sport of swimming to give back, to raise money, to help fund research that hopefully would save lives. I was invited to this sponsorship lunch, and I was sitting there listening to the researchers describe their research and just talking about Swim Across America. And I just had this message of, you need to swim in 14 of these next year. I turned to Nancy Overheim, who's involved with Swim Across America, next to me, and I said, I'm not really sure why. I said, but I think I'm supposed to swim in 14 of these events in 2020. I said, are there 14? And she assured me that there were 14, and I knew that this was something I was supposed to do for Grace. Grace lived for 14 years, so it's kind of like swimming for 14 years of Grace. Her life is not just about cancer, right? It's about, hope and having faith and believing that better things can come. And so I feel like I feel as though that this tour, this journey is not just about swimming in 14 events, but it's about the relationships that I'll form. It's the people that I'll meet that need to hear, Grace's story, because it may inspire hope in them or faith that things can be better, that you can still have, joy and joyless circumstances, and have hope in what many people might view as a hopeless situation. So that's kind of how all of this kind of came together.
With Grace and Vicki, that as a mom, that she can continue Grace's legacy every year through doing Swim Across America. I mean, she's doing 14 of our swims all over the country this year, which is absolutely crazy amount of time and effort and dedication, and she's doing it for Grace, right? So she's going to be able now to sort of live out Grace's dream of her mom.
You probably think I'm going to tell you how Dr. Wazalewski informed us that Grace had a large tumor growing in her left femur and over 22 tumors in each of her lungs. You probably think we're going to tell you a story about childhood cancer, but you would be wrong. No, we are not going to tell you a story about childhood cancer. We are going to tell you a love story involving Grace Bunky, the sport of swimming, and the Swim Across America organization that occurred against the backdrop of the overwhelming power of hope.
Vicki Bunky spoke at our summit, and she was the keynote presenter. Now, our summit is just our key event directors within each community. We call them the community leaders. We brought them together. We brought together some of our oncologists. She shared her story. She wanted to go to 14 swims. And I mean, the room just said, we have to tell this story.
How am I going to make that happen, right? Like, it's just an idea. And it was just very touching to me that Rob was like, we're going to make this happen for you. You've got our full support. We're going to do this. Calling it the Amazing Grace Tour, like God's grace. We don't deserve it, but it's something we desperately need. We don't deserve inspirational stories like Grace's, but we all desperately need them. Swim Across America is about swimming across America.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Swim Across America, Tampa Bay 2021. How about a round of applause for Johnny Ginn, our MC?
Vicky's like, I just want to go to the swims, and I want to raise money for the cause, and I want to honor my daughter and learn how to swim in all these different venues as a non-swimmer and meet all the great people, and then see all the money go back into the cancer research and patient programs.
Where is Vicky? I know she's here. Vicky's right there. Come on up here for a second, Vicky. Vicky has become a dear friend to Swim Across America. And her team name is Team Amazing Grace. We lost Grace in 2018 to osteosarcoma. Vicky is not a swimmer, by the way. She was a runner. And so her daughter said, you know, you're gonna have to carry on for me, Mom, while I'm not there. And so this year, in honor of Grace, Vicky's gonna swim in 14 Swim Across America swims. Thank you so much, Vicky, for making the time to come down here with us. At this time, I do want to bring up a very special guest. She flew in all the way from Boston. This is our board chair at Swim Across America, Pam Ryan. Pam.
This is the first of 21 swims we hope to have this year across the country.
For Vicky to do what she's doing and to do it with us. Grace loved Swim Across America, and so I think that Vicky's doing this year is one of the reasons we have to do these swims. She was like the most glass half full person, is just the inspiration for so many of other people.
You guys, we are one big team, and we are swimming today on a team to defeat cancer, and I just know it's touched everybody in a very personal way, so I thank you guys all for being here, making this possible, and look forward to making waves.
I need everyone to put your hand up. I need you to say, this is not a race. This is not a race. This is a fundraiser. This is a fundraiser. All right. Hope you guys have a great swim today.
Go. You show them.
The people who have joined us over the years are people who have been affected, either directly or indirectly by cancer. And the stories are just incredible. And many of them are stories of triumph and some are not. Some are real heartbreaking stories. But people still come together. They still persevere. Families have said goodbye to loved ones, but they're still here. We bring hope to a lot of families, a lot of people who have had a tough time with cancer. The impact of the bunkies, and certainly Grace's story, tragic as it is, but where Vicky is and what their family is doing today is just tribute to the organization and tribute to people deciding to persevere and go on and go forward and help others.
Oh, and let's hear it for the swimmers, everybody. Tampa Bay, make some noise every time they come in.
All right, I have another special guest with me. She just finished her 1 mile. This is Vicky Bunky all the way from Atlanta. You guys met her earlier. So Vicky, I have to ask you, what was swimming a mile like?
It was amazing. It was, I had Grace on my mind the whole time. And when I would get tired, I would do 14 strokes, 15 strokes, 14 strokes. So anyway, it's an honor to be here. To start off the tour in Tampa, I think of a better place than the ocean. So it was great.
So guys, you kicked it off. This is Vicky Bunky, team captain for Team Amazing Grace. She's going to do 14 swims this year.
The first stop on the Amazing Grace tour was in Tampa, and it was perfectly scheduled on Mother's Day weekend. It was also a great reminder of why we're doing what we're doing, because when you think of Mother's Day, or you think of moms, and we all moms are obviously, you wait with great expectation and excitement and anticipation to see your child's first breath. You just never imagine and aren't prepared to watch them take their last breath. was nervous and wanted to make sure I watched the safety talk. And, people have asked me, was the water cold? And I'm saying, I have no idea. I don't remember what the temperature of the water felt like at all. But I'm so thankful that when I got in the water, that it was challenging, because again, if it were easy, it would take some of the significance away. When you swim in open water, you're swimming with wildlife, whoever might be there. And when I came out of the water, I couldn't believe it. Someone saw dolphins swimming alongside of the swimmers in the bay. And I knew, obviously, Grace had to send the dolphins.
Folks, let's make some noise for John Driskell Hopkins, please. Come on. Take the time out of his busy schedule to be here for you all and Swim Across America. This gentleman is top shelf.
I'm John Driskell Hopkins, and I'm a singer and a songwriter in the Zac Brown Band. And there's just a big community that was surrounding, cheering Grace on and her struggle. And so when asked to be a part of it, that was an easy yes for me.
So as a proud member of Team Amazing Grace,
He's kind of followed Grace's story. We were talking about doing the Amazing Grace Swim Across America tour. In my mind, I'm like, every tour needs, a theme song, right? Multi-Grammy, award-winning artist who has to be so busy.
So it was meant to be a tune to honor Grace, but to inspire Vicki in her journey, and something that I thought that we would both enjoy doing together.
breathe in, open your eyes, stand up, steady your mind, fall down, over and over again, and again, look up into the sky.
So John wrote a song entitled I'll Take You Home, written from the perspective of God talking to Grace. It's very comforting as a mom, to feel like Grace is home.
Think of all the lives you've saved by making waves. You prayed for rain, so I brought my umbrella, let it fall down around you like it falls from my eyes. I know your pain.
When we started writing this song, Vicki shared with me lots of the sort of mottos and mantras that were connected to the campaign to eradicate childhood cancer. And one of the ones that was being used in Grace's campaign was, "You prayed for rain, so I brought my umbrella." And as we continued through this songwriting journey together, the point of view sort of became as if God were speaking to Grace on her final day. So it got real specific, which was tougher to come up with. So
I brought my umbrella, let it fall down around you like it falls from my eyes. I know your pain, so I've come.
As Vicki's going to go through 2021 and do 14 charity swims, she's like, that's not the end. I might get through 14 swims, that's finite, but what's not finite is hope has no finish line.
Swim Across America is making waves to fight cancer.
I swim because it helps me forget. It helps me to forget that my cancer keeps coming back, threatening to steal the air from my lungs and stop my heart from beating. Today I swim for me. Today I swim for hope. Today I swim for Aflac, so that hopefully there will be a different future, a better future, a future in which someone like myself has a chance to live.
A WaveMaker is just making the lemonade out of the lemons. Just that person that can make that glass half full all the time is just that positive person.
If we could have 10,000 WaveMakers out there this year, the impact across the board for people who are battling cancer, people who have survived cancer, would be tremendous.
Lots of people make waves in their lives. They shake it up, they get noticed. And so that's something that Grace did with ferocity, with intensity, with a lot of intensity. She made waves toward a cure for cancer by making waves in the water as well. So we liked how that felt. It's not just about swimming, it's about changing the world.
So I brought my umbrella, let it fall